Today on Designing Ashes, we are going to talk integration. I know, a really sexy topic, right? It is when you stop thinking of each PvP system as a solo system, but think of them all as an integrated whole. This is where I propose a system of added advancement. Almost every MMO adds such a system at some point. In EverQuest, they are called alternate advancement points, or AA. In DAOC, it was realm points, or RP, and Elder Scrolls, they are called champion points. For this conversation, we are going big. Not just one point system, but two. We will call them KP, or kill points, and CP, for Care Bear points. Anyway, let me preface the rest of this video essay by saying I know, and you should know, that Ashes of Creation is a work in progress and is not complete. I also don't have access to their game Bible, and I can't read Steven's mind. With those disclaimers out of the way, let's sell you on the need for 2-point systems. Why would Ashes need this? Because once people hit max level, get their gear, and do a bit of raiding or PvPing, they will start to log in less and less until they stop playing. People stay in games for content and progression. Yes, I know Ashes is more geared for a sandbox game, but even in a sandbox, you need people to create content. Let me give you an example. In Phase 2, I was escorting a guildmate's caravan when a person rode up and demanded money, or they would provide us with content. I love this line because it is so true. We ignored him and let our guild know that we could have a fight. He called friends, and sure enough, he and his friends did provide us with content. We had a short fight. As soon as they flagged as attackers, our guild rode in on the flank, flagged as defenders, and crushed them. Now let's pretend they had quit the game due to a lack of content. They would not have given us a break from a boring caravan ride. Thus, you need people. These point systems will help retain people and give folks things to do after hitting max level. You would earn KP by participating in PvP events, and since it's a PvX game, you would earn CP by PvE events. To buy a new skill, you would need one or the other. The best skills would need a combination of both. This will get the PvE people out into the danger areas so the rogues of the world can kill them, and will entice the griefing crowd to kill some monsters, or dare I say it, run some quests. Having 2-point systems helps stop exploiters. If all you had was KP, you know people would run off to some lawless zone and just farm each other for points, not really fighting. This way, they have to go kill some monsters at the very least. Another system feature to help prevent exploiting would be diminishing returns. After you kill a person, that person will be worth less points for, say, 10 minutes or so. Each time you kill them, you would get less and less experience, making it useless to try and farm a person or a group of them. This is where we unpin the caravan problem from the last episode. If you see a caravan under attack with only the driver, why would you sign up as an attacker, since you can only kill the driver to get any KP, and you're competing with a bunch of other people for that little pinata of XP? You sign up as a defender, and suddenly you have a much more rich target environment. Clearly, you would not get KP for going corrupt. Sorry. With this system in place, we have created player retention, created more content, and made everyone grumpy a perfect system. Now let's integrate guild wars, node wars, and sieges. A quick fix in the current state of these systems. When a scroll is used, initiating a guild or node war, there needs to be a 5-minute preparation phase. This will stop the sudden surprise attacks by one side, giving them a huge starting advantage. I have been on both sides of this, and while it feels great to kill a person of X node at the Hideworks and looting their body, By the way, thank you, nameless person from Miralith, who had so much heroic fat and tanned otter hides on them. This helped me craft my end game gear for Phase 2. This does not feel fair at all, and gives a huge advantage to the attacker. It feels equally bad to be killed suddenly as a storage clerk when you're full of rare mats you're about to run to another city. Just change the system to give folks a moment to know the hurt is about to start. I did think about a safe time of 30 seconds when you log into the game and find yourself in a war, but there would be ways to exploit this, and you would have to add in other timers to prevent exploits, etc. So why not just leave this one on the players? In short, don't log out with good shit on you. Guild Wars. Right now, Guild Wars feel really pointless. Sure, you get to kill folks, but for what? Oh look, we have KP now. That helps, but let's up the stakes and make the system more fair at the same time. If you win a war, you should get a reward, but not the way it was in Phase 1 or the start of Phase 2. That was a terrible system. Your reward should not come from the game, but from the guild you defeated. Let's rework this even more. Wars should not have a time limit. They should continue until one side surrenders, or if the kill ratio hits a huge disparity. The surrender option would not become available until 2 hours into the war, and you can't just 100% duck the fight. Each guild would also have a combat rating. This would be like an ELL rating, determined by numbers in the guild, who they have beaten, and the combat rating of the foes they have faced, etc. This would slowly separate the top guilds from the weaker guilds, and if a high-rated guild attacks a low-ranked guild, the high-ranked one should not get many rewards, even from a crushing victory. This would incentivize guilds to fight near each other's ranks to get the better rewards. When the fight is over, a guild has surrendered, or the ending ratio has been hit, the various combat ratings and kills during the war would determine what rewards the attacker would get from the defending guild. Yes, you heard that right. The defending guild will be losing stuff to the winning guild. This is a zero-sum game. Nothing is for free. Risk and reward. Things you might be able to get: gold tax from the other guild, temporary territory. Get into that idea in a bit. Guild XP tax? See my video about the guild tree to see why that would matter. And other things. Nodes and node wars. Time for more integration. Currently, node wars are just a larger version of guild wars with nothing gained and nothing lost. It feels empty, and who really cares who wins? There's nothing to lose or to gain other than bragging rights. I'm sure this is not the end design, but since we are not sure what the final iteration is going to look like, let's make node wars matter. Right now, no one really cares what node they are part of. No one has any real skin in the game. Also, why would you do a node war instead of a node siege? Node sieges have consequences, like node destruction. Again, we have no idea what the end plan of these systems are, but let's link the two systems together. Why not have real territory switch hands between the nodes as a consequence of war? To fully explain this, let's pretend Jova and Miralith are at war. We'll say Miralith was the aggressor and declared war. Unlike guild wars, these would have a time frame, say 12 hours or something along those lines. Since nodes would not have a combat score, the winner would be determined by the number of control points held. A control point would be a spot on the map that has relevance to each node, not just a random spot. For example, in the Jova territory, Halls of Adjudication would be a control point. This is an important spot for Jova, since it generates a lot of XP for the node to help it level. In our made-up war, Miralith would need to hold more control points than Jova at the end of the war. If they did, then they could use their victory points to get permanent control of Halls of Adjudication. This would open up Jova to follow up wars where Miralith could take control point by control point until they have a direct line through the Jova territory to the city. Once they have reached the city, then they can start a node siege. I know this sounds complicated, but it makes it harder to destroy a node and makes it more realistic in terms of supply and logistics. This would also give real consequences for node wars. The map would shift and change over time as nodes take and lose territory, making a more player-driven world. Limits could be put in place to prevent a node from taking so much territory they're controlling an entire biome. Now, how do we get guilds and players to care what node they are part of? The answer to this is the control points. When you look at the map, there are not enough POI to make them the only type of control point. So let's add some things. What do people fight over? Well, resources for one. You could add a cave with a vein of, say, copper in the cave that is only mineable by the guild who has been assigned that control point by the node's mayor. This control point would be a valuable resource for said guild. The guild would have to make their HQ or guild hall in the node to be eligible for the mayor to select them to possess this control point. POIs would be handled in the same way. In fact, holding a POI control point by a guild could be very useful. It could give them guild XP. It could open a guild-only instance to fight some boss, etc. The possibilities are endless. When a guild loses a war, they could lose the right to control that control point for a time, depending on the victory points of the winners, etc. When you own a control point, you can even set the area to be lawless for X duration with some sort of cooldown, creating a player-driven PvP event. Depending on guild levels or guild abilities, would determine how many control points one guild could have. The guild of the node's mayor would only get to the city itself, but that could have underground passages and other cool benefits that guild could access. The possible events, political strife, intrigue, and massive wars with these systems would be amazing, keeping people playing in an ever-shifting world. Don't worry, I did not forget about the other systems, but you'll have to stay tuned for part 3. Thank you for watching the video, and be sure to like, subscribe, and let me know what you think in the comments below. And as always, I'll see you in Vera.